This is why you need a bit of logic in your economy. Because, as history shows us, when you try to run a country without it, things can get pretty wild, pretty fast. Soviet-style planning was wild. Imagine a world where every single thing you buy, from bread to boots, is decided not by what people want, but by a handful of officials in a distant office. Ready for a quick tour of economic madness? Let's step into the shoes of an average Soviet citizen, navigating a world where shopping is less about picking what you like and more about hoping there's anything to pick at all. The shelves might be full one day, empty the next, and you never really know what you'll find. So, the Soviet Union had this big idea. Let's have the government decide everything. How many socks to make, how many cabbages to grow, even how many toothbrushes people need. The logic was simple. If you plan everything, you can avoid waste and make sure everyone gets what they need. But in practice, it meant that a small group of planners had to predict the needs and wants of millions of people, years in advance. Sounds neat, right? On paper, it looked like a utopia. Everyone working together, no one left out, and the state making sure all needs are met. Propaganda posters showed happy workers and smiling families, all thanks to the wisdom of central planning. But here's where things got weird. The reality was far messier. Factories and workers were often left scratching their heads, trying to make sense of confusing orders and impossible targets. Because everything was planned years in advance, factories just tried to tick boxes, make exactly 10 million shoes, even if they were all for the left foot. If the plan said shoes, nobody specified left or right, so you got mountains of left shoes and none for the right. It sounds like a joke, but it really happened. Shops would get mountains of one thing, say pink pajamas, but nothing else. Imagine walking into a store and finding shelf after shelf of the same item, while everything else you actually need is nowhere to be found. Choice wasn't just limited, it was practically non-existent. People queued for hours just to buy whatever was actually on the shelves. Sometimes you didn't even know what you were waiting for, just that something, anything, might be available if you were lucky. The line itself became a way of life, a daily ritual for millions. And if you thought shopping was hard, try being the guy who had to guess, years ahead, how many winter coats everyone would want. The pressure was enormous, and the margin for error was huge. One wrong calculation, and an entire city could be left shivering through the winter. Spoiler, they got it wrong. A lot. Empty shelves became a common sight, and people learned to make do with whatever they could find. Frustration and disappointment were part of the shopping experience. The system sounded super organized, but life felt like a big treasure hunt, except the treasure was toilet paper. People would trade tips on where to find basic goods, and a roll of toilet paper could feel like striking gold. The most ordinary things became rare prizes. In the end, Soviet economics proved one thing: you need a bit of chaos, and maybe a price tag or two, to keep things running smoothly. Markets, with all their messiness and unpredictability, actually help balance what people want with what's available. Sometimes, a little disorder is the secret ingredient to making sure everyone gets what they need. So next time you moan about missing your favorite cereal at the shops, just remember, at least we have a choice. Compared to the Soviet days, even a half-empty shelf is a sign of abundance. Choice, variety, and a little bit of chaos. That's what keeps our shelves full and our lives just a bit more interesting.